Ms. Olive Monica Najuma, I'm so glad that you're a part of us this morning, and we are delving into a conversation that I know concerns pretty much most of us. We have AI, and there has been the worry that AI is going to to replace many of our jobs. I'm sure you have seen conversations regarding the jobs that may not be available in the nearby future. But also now there is a growing trend where young people are basically using AI as a crutch. They are not bothered with thinking hard because, well, AI will do it for them. They're using AI to write their assignments. They're using AI to come up with reports in places of work. And I've seen jokes like, your doctor today, your future doctor is using AI to answer medical questions. So please exercise and eat well. Now, in my opinion, I think that AI can actually, the same way we had innovations like the calculator, and we found ways of including it in studies like for mathematics, and used it as a tool instead of as an evil. I believe that we could actually use AI as a tool for growth, but rather than a tool that we use so that we don't have to think. But today I have experts, and we will be delving into this conversation. Our topic is surviving the artificial intelligence wave, youth unemployment and the future of work. How do we survive the artificial intelligence wave, given that innovations like artificial intelligence are here to stay? So how do we survive this wave and also make sure that we are evolved and make sure that we are individuals that are good at what we do? Well, I'll be speaking to Martin Aibaziwe, who is the Executive Director, Otic Foundation, and I will also be speaking to Miss Jessica Eleanor Nachanzi, who is the Head Legal Otic Foundation. First of all, good morning, Mr. Aibaziwe. You're welcome.
Good morning, Monica.
How are you?
I'm fine. It's a great honor to be here once again, and looking forward to a good conversation.
All right. Good morning, Miss Nachanzi.
Good morning, Monica.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm glad to be here.
All right. I am happy to have you.
Thank you.
Maybe to start with you, Mr. Aibaziwe, please tell us about Otic Foundation, what you do, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Monica. Otic Foundation, we are a social enterprise that is at the forefront of building the Uganda AI ecosystem. And we have a mission of training more than 3 million AI talents by 2030, and also create 1 million AI-centric jobs at that time. We are also endorsed by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance to carry out AI scaling across the country. So that is basically what we do. And I think we've been scaling for almost half a decade. So far trained more than 4,000 Ugandans with AI skills. So it's a great honor and opportunity to have to do that and do our part in this country. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Miss Nachanzi, you're welcome once again.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Now, we are getting into this conversation. First of all, I don't know, either of you, let's start by assessing how would you assess Uganda's current level of preparedness for AI revolution?
All right. Thank you very much for that question. If I should speak from how we've been interacting with the country, with quite a number of different sectors, I believe that there's a lot of work that is being done in readying the country, making sure that whether it's the AI framework and policy, I think it must have been last year when we had a conversation from the Uganda Commission's Communications Commission, where they launched the National AI Task Force, whose part was to formulate an AI policy and framework to guide on the AI adoption, but also to understand where we are as a country. But also, if I should look at it from a different perspective, when you look at maybe just basing on the AI Readiness Index, the Global AI Readiness Index, where you need to have, you look at the technological sector, and I believe we had this conversation before, where you look at the government sector and the human capital development. Uganda is in a place of, we're seeing AI skilling happening. We're seeing not just Otic Foundation, but quite a number of organizations are jumping in as far as AI skilling is concerned. And skilling is everything. Skilling, reskilling, upskilling is one of, it's the fundamental step to ready a national workforce for the fourth industrial revolution. So when we see that, then there is hope for the country that we are not going to be caught unawares, we are not going to be caught off guard by the, like we call it, the AI wave.
Okay. Now coming to you, Ms. Nachanzi.
Yes, Monica.
Seeing that you're youthful yourself,
Yes.
what role can Ugandan youth play in making AI a tool for job creation and not just a consumer trend? Because right now, I think majority of Ugandan youth, and I stand to be corrected, but I believe that many are using it as a consumer trend. You have AI. Lately, I've seen complaints that people are not even putting in the work to just have a conversation with, their friends. They're just you type in AI to come up with a conversation for you, and for me, I feel like that is consumerism on the side of the users. But please help us understand this bit.
Thank you so much, Monica. I think speaking to the Ugandan youth out there, I would focus more. AI is focusing more, like, for example, AI is not here to drive laziness in the Ugandan youth. So especially for the students out there, when you talk about artificial intelligence, they're excited of plagiarism. Oh, I can write a whole text in ChatGPT and I have the answers. And that is not what AI is here to do. AI is here to help us leverage technology to drive innovation and growth. So I feel like for the youth out there, this is the time to jump onto the wheels of AI, not to look at it as laziness or something that is here to to automate tasks so you can see it and relax, but to use it as a leverage to drive innovation and growth. That is my thought process.
Okay. And we are hearing this from a legal perspective. Actually, I would like to keep with you for a moment. What are the dire effects of using artificial intelligence, for instance, to write assessments? And here I'm referring to people that are in school to write assessments, or for people who are writing reports for work.
Oh, well, one of the effects there is, number one, for someone in school, that is plagiarism. Yes, and also one of the effects we have with such nature is data security. Yeah, we have a challenge there when it comes to artificial intelligence, but I want to thank the government of Uganda that they have tried to put in guidelines, for example, the Data Protection Act, and a few guidelines that the National ICT has come up with. Not to mention, but a few, we also have the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act in place, because when you interface with artificial intelligence does a number of things, creating reports, diagrams, and in the Ugandan space, all that is copyrightable. So we have the legal fraternity has come up with quite a number of regulations, and also there are those that are under the way to to protect that and see that all such effects are mitigated.
Okay. Now, when you speak about data security, I am a student. I'm using my AI that is on my phone, whose data I buy to write my assessment. What data security are you talking about here?
For example, we have AI tools that are programmed in a way that you're not supposed to to access or to, you know, to release certain kind of information. Like, for example, if you're using an AI tool and then you're trying to access my information, that would be a data breach.
Okay.
Like, without my consent, that's a data breach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I am having a conversation with Otic Foundation. I'm speaking to Ms. Jessica Elena Nachanzi, who is the head of legal at Otic Foundation, and then I am also having this conversation with Mr. Martin Aibaziwe, who is the executive director Otic Foundation. And now, Mr. Aibaziwe, coming back to you, let's look at institutions, both public and private. How are they integrating AI into development sectors like agriculture, education, and healthcare?
Thank you for that question, Monica. When I look at Uganda, and that's a very critical question where we are, because we are in a country where most Ugandans are in school. They're either in secondary school, or they're in the university, or they're in a certain institution. So that means that our workforce, our future of work is actually in these places of institutions. And if you're talking about artificial intelligence being disruptive, then most of the conversations or the efforts should be around preparing students or secondary school students for the future of work. At Otic Foundation, this particular year, we launched the National Free AI Skilling Initiative. It's an initiative that is focused on equipping learners, public servants, the whole country in AI fundamentals. But because the demographics will define that most of our Ugandans are in schools, we are directly working with universities. We are directly working with institutions of learning to be able to incorporate it. I think I look at it more of like a supplementary education to the fundamental sciences that are being taught in some of these institutions. Can we find a way of adding artificial intelligence skills, AI fundamental knowledge to what the students are already doing? Because it implies that whatever they are doing, they will have an opportunity to incorporate artificial intelligence. But also you realize that if they have the AI understanding, how AI is redefining, because AI is not just ChatGPT. No. AI is the technology by which work is being built on, by which organizations are being built on, by which systems, products, services are being built on. So if we're going to have a conversation around universities, and which are centers of innovation, these are centers of excellence. You have innovations coming up. You have research centers in innovations that which innovations are supposed to spill into industry. I'm talking about a student at Makerere University being able to innovate a service in the agriculture sector. I'm talking about a student maybe in Mbara University who is able to innovate a product in health. Yes. So if they are equipped with artificial intelligence, the level of innovation will be sparked. It will be increase because they have the tool they need to innovate better. They have the tool they need to critically think better. They have the tool they need to make their processes much better. So it's very imperative that AI skilling and training is incorporated in institutions of learning. So if I look at maybe the National Free AI Skilling Initiative that we're doing, we have a mission of training more than 80,000 students this year alone. So that means it's an opportunity to incorporate, and it's not a hard thing because it's very relevant. If you look at, we've had conversations with students in some of these universities, and they're doing courses that literally incorporate machine learning into whatever they're doing. So it's a win-win. So I welcome the idea, and it's something that we are incorporating in the work that we're doing. Okay, and I like that you did say machine learning. Had it being said, conferences and all those executive rooms, and but I'm sure there is a Ugandan out there who keeps wondering, what does machine learning mean? What does it mean? For example, if you look at let me just use the real life applications. If you look at any particular mobile phone that you can buy or purchase right now,
yes.
For example, a smartphone. It's actually it's called a smartphone because it has some intelligence to it. It has some smart functions to it. So, for example, if you look at how you open up a phone, if you look at the computer, the facial recognition technology,
the fingerprint.
Or the fingerprint
yes.
recognition. That is an application of machine learning.
Okay.
That device was taught it was taught to read patterns of fingerprints to know that if this fingerprint aligns with this, the phone should open. If these facial features should align with this particular face, it should be able to respond to you. But that was the process of machine learning. Yes. So there are diverse applications of machine learning.
Okay.
If you look at voice recognition,
yes,
such systems were taught and trained on a lot of data, different voices, to actually make sure that they can recognize a particular voice to be able to respond. So
the
machine
Alexas.
learning. Thank you.
Alexa, tell me the weather.
Tell me the weather.
Yes.
Hello Siri. All of that is machine learning.
Ah, okay. Wow, this is rather a very enlightening conversation. Now, if you do have any questions, you can WhatsApp us on WhatsApp number 0709 602 592. And today we are speaking matters artificial intelligence, surviving the artificial intelligence wave, youth unemployment, and the future of work. Maybe, Mr. Aibaziwe, let's look at our topic of discussion. Why are we surviving the artificial intelligence wave, and how has it contributed to youth unemployment and the future of work, or how will it actually help with youth unemployment and the future of work? I feel like there are two questions in one here.
Yeah, and there's a lot to say about that. But I'll begin this way. There is a gross bias and misinformation that I don't think it's a Ugandan problem, but I think it's a global problem.
Okay.
Everywhere in the world, there is a sort of resistance to artificial intelligence adoption. It's not even just the individual that me as Martin, will I be able to keep my job? It's businesses. Businesses fear they have the fear to lose their market shares because of some of these systems. But number one, I think it's important to deal with the mindset, to know that artificial intelligence, like any technology that ever came, if you look at the third industrial revolution, I could even use an example of the products and services that came with the ICT industrial revolution. Look at hospitals. Right now, hospitals are able to provide better services, are able to provide better products, even in the medicine world, because of that computer. If you just look at the initial engagements with patients, back then, when you used to go to a hospital, you could always, the first thing you do when you reach the hospital, someone has to first go look through a pile of paper to just get your medical document.
Your file.
Regardless of what you're doing, they're
Yes.
not going to put their hands on you until they actually get your medical records. And
Yes.
that would be disturbing because I'm having a headache, I'm having a migraine, it's an emergency, but you're not attending to me because you don't have the medical records. But right now, you just walk in any hospital now and you go straight to the doctor's office and the doctor has all your details on his tab. That means the ICT revolution did make product and service delivery better. So we need to look at artificial intelligence beyond an application, beyond ChatGPT, beyond something that you can just interact with on your phone or whatever gadget you have. We need to start looking at artificial intelligence as a revolutionary technology.
And I would like to actually add something. You did mention something, the innovations in like fields like medicine. You know, an endoscopy, where they put, it's like a tube, but it has a camera attached to it, and then they go into your stomach. I recently saw something where it is like it's like a capsule.
Something you swallow.
It's something you swallow, then it goes into your stomach, takes pictures that the doctor now later on uses to see what's in your stomach without you having to go through any pain.
Exactly.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. It's amazing the different services and products that artificial intelligence is bringing on the table.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Most of us don't really understand the potential artificial intelligence has beyond the misinformation that is just on the surface level. And that's what calls for reskilling and upskilling and AI awareness across the country that let the industrialists understand whether they're in health, whether they're in education, whether they are in financial services, the different financial services, personalized services. Right now, my bank sends me a happy birthday message. What does that mean to me? It means they have individualized their service to me. Probably I'll think twice before I cross to another bank, because these people seem to understand and know me. There are more personalized services the banks can render to their customers. There are more back-to-back engagements they can have because they have data about this particular consumer. So for me, I think it's a mindset change and attitude towards what artificial intelligence is. I'll tell you for a fact, in the next few years, the products, the innovations, the services, the jobs that are going to be created are going to be created on artificial intelligence.
Wow, interesting. Now, Ms. Nachanzi, from a legal perspective, are we safe?
Of course we are.
Okay.
Getting it from me. In the legal space we are safe.
How, maybe let me even rephrase. Thank you for saying legal space. How is the legal fraternity including artificial intelligence in the way you do things? Let's say you're representing Otic Foundation. Maybe it's someone else that is out there and they're a lawyer. How is the legal fraternity using artificial intelligence? And also, how do you get ahead of issues like plagiarism? I understand you have the detectors, the artificial intelligence detectors, but away from that, how? Because I mean, sometimes when you're in court, I will present to you a hard copy of a document. I stand to be corrected. I could be wrong here. So how are you getting ahead of it, but also how are you using it in the fraternity? In the fraternity.
Thank you so much, Monica. AI is an interesting conversation when it comes to the legal space. It's amazing because in the legal space we have quite a number of biases, the misinformation, like Mr. Yebazigwe has said, the laziness that comes to it, that AI is here just to automate tasks. And
imagine I'm on death row and my lawyer is using artificial intelligence to write my defense.
Yeah, I think as lawyers, I want to think we need to learn how to use these tools. We need to learn how to use, because it's not wrong for you to write submissions for someone using artificial intelligence for criminal, for someone who's in the death row. It's not wrong, because actually we do it. We have AI tools that do the document reviews, do the contract analysis for us. But how do you do it? How do you do it?
So how do you manage to use it? Because I come from a school of thought that artificial intelligence is not the devil. I come from this, but there is the laziness that comes with using artificial intelligence in whatever capacity. So as lawyers, yes, you said you use it for for summaries and whatnot. Yeah. But how do you ensure that there is no laziness?
Like I said at the start of this conversation, I think it's a mindset. There is got to be a mindset change that artificial intelligence is not here to promote laziness, but it's for us to leverage it to drive to drive growth and innovation. Because artificial intelligence is quite good in a way that it analyzes versatile data. Okay. So just imagine I have a pile of files to read and review, you know, I'll focus that attention to something else. You know, those are the advantages. One of the advantages of artificial intelligence, that there is efficiency. Imagine I have quite a number of people in death row I have to represent. When I bring in artificial intelligence therein, work is done much faster. You're trying to get me, work is done much faster. So I think it's also a mindset change. Like, yeah.
I hear what you're saying. You know, I'll use an example of a washing machine. Instead of spending 3 hours in the basin washing clothes, you'd rather put them in the machine, set it, and then you use that time to do something else.
Amazing.
But it doesn't mean that the machine will fold the clothes for you.
Exactly.
You will get them out, fold them, maybe iron them yourself.
Absolutely correct.
Interesting. Mr. Iwaziwe, we have come to the end of our conversation, but briefly, I'd like to pick your mind on whether Uganda is ready to adopt AI in job-creating industries rather than just tech hubs.
There is a lot, especially from the government side, that has actually been done to support the adoption. If you look at the National Development Plan, the forthcoming National Development Plan 4, that focuses on innovation and technology to be able to create wealth, looking at youth employment, looking at skills development, looking at climate change and green economies. That means actually that the framework is there, the policies are there to be able to support businesses that are integrating artificial intelligence. Even when you look at the Uganda digital transformation roadmap, where you look at ICT's ability to extend its impact on diverse sectors of the country. That simply means that there's a lot of work that's being done in the back end to bring the public-private partnerships into the innovation space. When you look at the national the national AI task force that was appointed last year, all of these are pointers that the government is not actually against the AI adoption, because the government's part will always be simple: to formulate the policies and frameworks, and also hold the public accountable to them. So, but also, if you look at the private sector, there are a lot of conversations around AI adoption. There are a lot of conversations around changing mindset. When you talk about AI adoption, even at an organizational level, that AI governance is key. That careful asserting of benefit versus cost. That if I have an organization that has 4,000 employees, if I am doing a digital transformational an AI adoption process, can I do it without laying some employees out of the work? Is it something that I can do without costing people jobs? Am I able to afford upskilling and reskilling my workforce so that we go through this AI transition, but in a responsible way?
Okay.
So there are conversations around responsive AI adoption, even at organizational level, which means that we are heading somewhere.
We are heading somewhere. I like that. Well, I have a comment from Cricket Derek from Makinde. Cricket Derek Gagamel from Makinde Luafu. He says, "Good morning, Olive and our guests. As the world evolves, we have to embrace change. We are in a digital era, and AI must be used effectively. Only where my worry is that artificial intelligence can be applied where it is not applicable. People sometimes, out of excitement, mess up, and instead of them controlling AI, then it's the other way round. So we must at least apply a human sense while using it. After all, it is artificial intelligence, not natural intelligence." I think he raises a good point there. And then Eric, a student from Muni University, says, "I would like to know how best students can use AI to eliminate the issues of laziness and plagiarism in less than 5 seconds." Nachanzi.
I think I'll dwell more on a mindset change.
Mindset change.
Because from the start of it, why would you want to plagiarize?
Okay, that's quick and simple.
Why would you want to plagiarize?
Yes.
And we also, actually, most institutions have integrated plagiarism detectors. So you're not free students out there.
Okay.
Plagiarism can be detected.
All right. Plagiarism can be detected, but also as a student, you are there to study. Why are you using artificial intelligence? But in a few seconds, as we close, Mr. Ivers, were your parting remarks on, is there a way we can use AI the same way we adopted the calculator? Briefly.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, there is. I think, number one, we need to manage expectations because AI, like the comment that came in, sometimes we use artificial intelligence in places we're not supposed to use it. So if we manage expectations, then we can know what is the potential artificial intelligence can do to my work. And if I understand the limits, if I understand the real applications, the real, can I call them the real, where I see artificial intelligence come in, especially, is in automation of tasks.
Okay.
Look at all your work processes. See the things that deal with data analysis. Look at the things that deal with tasks that are repetitive. Artificial intelligence most likely can do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Nachanzi and Ayabazwe. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. I think young people, older people, we all need to learn a thing or two about artificial intelligence and not be lazy. We need to remember that we are still the intelligent ones because we are the ones that are feeding information to all these machines that we use in one way or another. But they simplify work, just like the washing machine. So stick around. Good Morning Uganda does continue. Upcoming is Julie with Good Morning Uganda business updates. Later on, Zakia Lucky will be coming in with Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express, and she will be speaking to the reigning Miss Tourism Uganda, and the conversation will revolve around the search for the next Miss Tourism Uganda. So stick around. It will be an interesting conversation, and I'll be back later to speak matters workers.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back from that profound conversation on AI with Olive. Thank you so much for choosing to watch UBC TV. My name is Julie Nantabamusisi. Good morning, Uganda. Time for business. And on the 4th of April 2025, Kampala Capital City Authority announced an impending vendor registration exercise at Busega Market starting on the April 7th day, which was yesterday. But there was chaos after KCCA officers and vendors at the Busega roadside market clashed following the recent announcement of this mandatory registration, which was authorized by Sharifa Buzeki, who gave the directive. That is the ED of Kampala Capital City Authority. Now, the Executive Director, Sharifa Buzeki, said that the exercise aligns with the Markets Act 2023, urging vendors to support it for improved market order and harmony. While some vendors support the initiative, others oppose it, fearing exploitation for personal gain. This impasse led to violent confrontations between KCCA officers who were enforcing the directive and targeted traders. Now, the confrontations between vendors and the enforcement team led to the suspension of the registration process until further notice. However, some of the protesters were apprehended and whisked away to unknown destinations. Now, moving on to matters energy, the State Minister of State for Energy, Okasai Opolot, has urged local communities of Kumi and Palisa districts to embrace cleaner sources of energy. He was launching solar power systems and clean cooking initiatives in the two districts. A transformative project in Ongino Kumi district has been launched to power homes using innovative solutions, and these indiscriminative developments are expected to significantly reduce reliance on traditional energy sources, improving the quality of life for residents. In Palisa district, a generous donation of gas cookers was made to support less privileged families. It is part of a broader effort to promote cleaner, more efficient cleaning methods. To further enhance the well-being of local residents, a new street lighting project was commissioned in Ongino. The street lights will significantly improve safety, security, and night life in the area. In Kumi, Okasai Opolot, the Minister of State for Energy, emphasized the adoption of energy-efficient methods to protect the environment and improve household energy efficiency. Through these progressive initiatives, the government is dedicated to making energy more affordable, sustainable, and accessible to all Ugandans. Now, looking at matters in the USA, U.S. stocks have mostly closed lower after a day of wild swings in the market as investors scramble to make sense of United States President Donald Trump's tariff plans. The benchmark S&P 500 and Dow Jones Industrial average on Monday fell 0.23% on and 0.91% respectively, racking up a third consecutive day of losses. The tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite finished slightly up, rising to 0.099%. The dip followed a day of volatile trading with unfounded reports that Trump was considering a 90-day pause to his tariffs, briefly sending the S&P 500 up more than 7%. The index quickly reserved its gains after the White House dismissed the report, which was picked up by a number of news outlets after being circulated on social media as fake news. Now, U.S. stock futures, which are traded outside of usual market hours, pointed to a possible reprieve from the losing streak on Tuesday, with contracts tied to the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq up 0.9% and 1.02% respectively. After following Wall Street's earlier losses, some Asian markets on Tuesday opened higher. Now, let's take a look at the forex rates today. As of 7th April 2025, the dollar opened, US dollar that is, opened at 3,654.36 buying and was selling at 3,664.36. Now, the dollar had gained value as of yesterday, and by midday it was at 3,714.68 and selling at 3,724.68. By close of day, it closed in at 3,702.05 and selling at 3,712.05. Now, looking at the pound, it was buying at 4,780.08, having lost value there, and was selling at 4,792.99. The euro was buying at 4,070.03, having gained value there, and selling at 4,081.02. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.64, having gained value as well, and selling at 28.71. And the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.37 and selling at 1.37, maintaining its value. The South African rand was buying at 192.60 and selling at 193.12, having gained its value there as well. And that is it from GMU Business today. GMU Tourism Express is up next with Zakia Lucky with the reigning Miss Tourism. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Arise and shine. It's a beautiful morning, and especially that we have a very beautiful guest with us this morning. Good morning and welcome on the GMU Tourism Express. My name is Zakia Lucky, and this morning we'll be discussing about the search for the next Miss Tourism Uganda. And we have the Queen herself with us today this morning, who goes by the names Queen Atino Lucky Bianca, who is the reigning Miss Tourism Uganda. We're happy to have you, Queen Bianca.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You look good as well.
Ah, thank you so much. Yes, before we get to the search for the next Miss Tourism Uganda this year, how does it feel like to become Queen?
Well, I can say it has been a life-changing experience.
Okay.
For me, I've grown to understand it's now about the value you put out there.
Okay.
When people get to see and like, oh my God, you inspire me, and I'm like, this is not just the contest and just the title and the crown, but it's the fact that you're able to change someone out there and they want to be better. So I feel like it's been a blessing so far since September last year till now. If I'm given this opportunity again, I would definitely take it. So far so good.
Amazing. That's good stuff right there. So the search for the next Miss Tourism Uganda, what is it that Miss Tourism Uganda is looking for this year?
Well, this year we're looking at the search to be even better and bigger. Okay. So last year our theme was talking about tourism and peace, but this year we are talking about I am my culture, which is the theme. So what we're looking for eligible girls and boys. So you need to make sure you are 18 years to 27 years. You have to have your A-level certificate. That's the level of education. You also need to be of very good character and value, because as a leader you're not only going to carry the crown like I say, but you're going to be an example to the people out there. So make sure you have good character. And also some of the other things we would require is for you to register, because you're not going to be part of this when we do not know who you are. So all that comes after you enroll, then they give you a form that you're going to fill out. Simple. Yeah.
Yes, you talked about the theme being I am my culture. I find that rich and wide. Maybe help us break it down.
So most of the times we have been hearing maybe about the biodiversity. When we come to Uganda, we're going to the parks, the animals, but this time around we're telling Ugandans and the world that there's something so rich about our culture. We are talking about the values that we carry as Ugandans. Talk about when you go to maybe, let's say, the north, it's very normal for us to kneel before elders, and in some parts of the world these are things that are not so common, but we're trying to make sure we go close and we supplement the packages that we have, not just the animals, but we say culture is something that is very profound. As Uganda, we're so rich in culture, so we want to be part of that institution that is pushing for culture, so that we groom young people, a generation of people that can represent us, but with value and productivity. So it's going to be amazing. So I'm encouraging everyone to be a part of this year's competition under the theme I am my culture.
Yes. So have you started searching for the girls?
Oh yes, we actually had our media launch that happened last month, but right now we're saying you can now enroll. So it's very easy. You just have to visit our social media pages at Miss Tourism Uganda PA. Those are our official pages. You're going to have all the help you need. You can go on our website pages. You're going to find the necessary contacts, or if you can't, you can also personally reach out to me at Lucky Bianca on all social media platforms. I mean, it's a life-changing experience, and by the time you see us here, we are not the same people you would have met last year. So I mean, this is an opportunity for everyone. The time is now. You don't have to be afraid. Just get enrolled, get that contact, and become the next face of Miss Tourism Uganda.
Talking about being the life-changing experience, tell us about your experience and your achievements so far.
Okay, well, talking about my experience, like I said, if I'm given the opportunity again, I would take it. I mean, once upon a time, I was a student at Lira University, and then the next thing I know, I am on a national stage. The next thing I know, I'm on an international stage. The next thing I know is someone reaches out to us like, Bianca, you inspire me, something like that. So I feel like my journey has been amazing. We've been able to travel to so many parts of Uganda. Like I said, it reaches a time when it's not just about the crown and the sash and the title, but it reaches a time when it's about the experiences you get, the life-changing experiences. Like, so I've not traveled a lot in Uganda, but now I feel like this is the best country you can live in. When you move, you can see the hills in the west, look at the amazing heritage in the north, the east. It's amazing, but you can never know the things when you do not travel. So I feel like for me, just the ability for my title to have given me the opportunity and the experience, it's been amazing.
And how was Malaysia for you?
Oh, Malaysia was amazing. Of course, I was nervous at the start. Any normal person would. But for me, traveling out has just given me the opportunity to learn how maybe international environments, how they conduct things, exposure, the amount of friends I made out there. If none of this would have happened if you're at home seated, that's why I say take up the opportunity right now. And the how can I say, the leaders that we met there, the connections and the possibility of future cooperation is also on the table. So like I said, Malaysia was just amazing. And then like you're on an international stage and people at home are like, oh my God, Bianca, this is amazing. Like I said, if I were home, I don't think I would be there. So I feel like I'm always grateful to the Miss Tourism platform for always sacrificing and making sure they put the girls first out there. So I think I will not be forgetting that one. Yeah.
So talking about that young girl who is watching you right now and they are inspired by you and they really want to find you and take up the opportunity, how are they going to find Miss Tourism Uganda? Are they going to come to Kampala? Do they have to find you? I don't know. How do they come into the competition right from the word start?
Okay, so it's easy. Like I said, firstly, you might not be there physically or go to the Miss Tourism head office because of so many reasons. But like we said, social media is a game changer. Just, I know all of us have gadgets or can borrow from a guardian. Like I said, you should be an adult 18 years and to 27. Now what you have to do is go to Miss Tourism pages. You can check out our website. You can go on X. You can go on Instagram. And then just reach out the contacts that are there. You can easily access them. And then just reach out to the contacts. Or like I said, you could personally maybe DM me maybe on Instagram or on X, and then I give you the right channel. All I'm saying is most times they'll all back probably thinking that someone is going to do that for them, but no one kept on pushing me to come for Miss Tourism. All we're saying is, as long as you feel the need to become the game changer and the change you want in your community, just take up the mantle today. Reach out to Miss Tourism Uganda social media handles, and you never know, you could be the next Miss Tourism Uganda or even the next Miss Tourism International. That is in your hands right now. Yeah.
And we've seen you going to different regions.
Yes, so as under Miss Tourism, it's not only just about having the crown and embodying the title of Miss Tourism Uganda. We have projects that we have been running, and then of course tourism is about travel, engagements. That's why if you look at Miss Tourism Queens, we are outgoing, we like to interact. So we have been to Kazo, we've been to Kabale, we've been to Lira, we've been to the eastern part of Uganda, we've been to like almost the entire Uganda, just pushing for the projects that we have put on the table, so that at the end of the day they see our value and what we're putting on the table and how we are transforming the lives of these young people, which I am a perfect example. Yeah.
So do you only go back to the regions looking for, rather doing projects, or the search is as well taken in that aspect?
Yes, the search. So what we do, we go to all the 12 regions that we have in Uganda. So we have leaders that call cluster heads. So meaning when we give you the right connections on social media, it's going to directly take you to, excuse me, to your cluster head. Let's say in the north, in Karamoja, in maybe Shigezi region or southwest. So what they'll do is you guys are going to enroll, then you go for auditions, and then they're going to ask you some questions. They're going to ask you questions to screen and see if you have the capability. So once again, we're saying make sure you do your research, make sure you see what a queen needs to embody, make sure you, by the time you go there, you're already confident because you know what you're getting yourself into. So after all the 12 regions compete, you're going to come to Kampala, which is going to be hosting. So for the top 3, when you do qualify in your region, let's say you're from Teso, so they're going to pick the top 3 and they're going to come and represent Teso region in Kampala, which is going to be at Serena Hotel on the 5th of September. So there we're going to now choose the main queen out of all the 3 different queens of every region. So we want representation. We're not just going to pick, we're going to only pick people from the central or people from the north. We need Uganda as a whole to be represented. But also the best part is, as much as you qualified, the trainings that they go through at boot camp is just enough for you to be a different person. So you also have a title as a queen to represent your region, which is the most important thing, because you're going to sell what you have back at home. So let no one be discouraged. I've seen my queens who are in the regional levels. They are doing amazing job. It doesn't matter whether they don't make it to the national, but I'm saying you can still do a lot with the regional sashes that you have. So all I'm saying is all the best, and don't give up. Enroll and go represent your region. Yeah.
Amazing. Go represent your region, and the search is on for the next Miss Tourism Uganda. She took you through what the qualifications are, so make it a point to come and shine. I am my culture. If you would love to represent your culture this year, Miss Tourism is giving you the opportunity to come and put your language out there, your culture, what defines you from your home. So come through and join Miss Tourism Uganda. It has made quite a number of products, including myself actually. It's a very great opportunity. Thank you for being with us on the GMU Tourism Express this morning. Until next time.
Of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks, Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
For the past 20 weeks, the Front Bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
When you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers, you bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out, and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Now airing every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso, every Wednesday live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachiko. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development?
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Once again, good morning. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and we get into a conversation about workers' rights and productivity. Now, I will be speaking to Mr. Richard Moses Mauku, who is from the National Organization of Trade Unions. And as workers, I can't say it enough. It's important for us to keep having these conversations about our rights, why we need to be in unions, because there are many advantages that come with that. Mr. Mauku, good morning.
Good morning, Monica.
How are you?
I'm very fine. How are you?
I'm okay. You look wonderful.
Thank you.
Are you an aspiring politician?
If need arises, I can.
If need arises. There is already need.
I have the potential.
Workers' elections are happening very soon.
I'm here to make choice whether to or not.
Well, we are workers and you represent us very well, so probably this is a sign from the Lord for you to think about it.
I will definitely think about it.
Okay, fine. It's really good to have you today, and I'm excited that we are going to have this conversation on workers' rights and productivity.
Okay.
First of all, starting with our topic of discussion, workers' rights and productivity. To a viewer that probably has missed some of the conversations we've had in the past.
Yes, please.
Yes. Why is it important for us to focus on the rights of workers, and how does this impact productivity?
Well, first and foremost, I need to take this opportunity to thank Ugandan, especially the working population, for the good work that they continue to do and the service that they continue to render this country. I would begin on the note of appreciating workers once again, and the employers who give us jobs, and also the government that sets the environment for us to work and earn a living. That said, workers' rights are given naturally. Many of them are natural rights, are human rights, and workers' rights are provided for internationally by the International Labour Organization, which is a tripartite organization, an arm of the UN that provides for international labor standards or international legislation, which spills over to the member states of the ILO. And all our labor laws are derived from the international labor standards. So workers' rights are offsprings of ILO international standards. And that said, we have, as of today, we have 190 conventions and a number of protocols and also recommendations as the instruments the International Labour Organization use to provide for workers' rights in the world. So workers' rights are essential and key in employment and labor. Where workers' rights are observed, it is expected that productivity is improved or is kept at higher levels. But it's also important for us to understand what productivity refers to, especially in terms of provision of business, services, and or goods. So in essence, productivity is a measure of how efficiently a business or any organization uses its available resources to produce goods and services.
Yes.
High productivity in many cases lead to increased efficiency of that organization. It also lowers the cost of production, and it gives potentially high profitability of the organization. And productivity also impacts on an organization in that it will improve that business or the organization's competitiveness. And it can also improve the ability of this organization to adapt to the changes in the economy. That is what I can say about productivity.
Okay.
So if you want to register high productivity to benefit from the achievements that comes along with it, it is important that you also consider workers' rights, because the biggest or the most important aspect in productivity is labor. There are always these three things that we read about in economics and commerce, the factors of production, that include, among others, capital, land, and labor. In the recent past, they have also included time. But among those three main aspects, labor is the most critical.
Labor is the most critical.
Labor is the most critical.
Because you can invest all you want. Yes.
And if the labor is not properly organized, you may not achieve what you want. You may not achieve the potential this organization has.
Yes.
Just because you have not treated labor or you have not placed labor in its right context. So the two work together. If you want to realize good profitability, if you want to have high productivity, the best ingredient is for you to manage labor in the most humane manner. One of the rich men in England said, that is Ford, he said that you can take away all the riches I have, you can take away all the resources I have, and leave me with my employees, I will be Ford again. He values an employee, he values a worker. He knows with this worker who is happy, anything can happen, anything can be done. But very many employers, not only in Uganda, but even in other countries, have a misconception about workers, the importance of workers. They only want to use the workers to produce, forgetting that if you best placed labor or you best handled workers, the profitability levels of your organization will definitely change. Because these people tend to own these organizations and work with all the zeal to make sure that they produce to their best, and by doing that, it's the organization that benefits more.
That's true.
and not necessarily this employee, because the employee works on terms. If my pay has been fixed as 500,000 shillings, even when I work so hard in a day, the salary won't change. Apart from some of these people that use or deploy employees at piece rate, that when you produce more items, you are paid more. You are paid against what you have produced. Sometimes it works,
sometimes it
but
doesn't.
there is no proper efficiency. And if there is efficiency in terms of quantity, the quality shall be compromised by this person who is working mainly just because he wants to make more money. He's not minding about the quality. He's minding about numbers. So sometimes where we have to push workers to work at piece rate, you stand that risk of compromising quality. So it is important that we focus, as employers, they need to focus on the issue of productivity and how productivity can continuously be improved. That's what I can make about what you have asked.
Okay.
The comparison between the two.
Okay, it's interesting. You can, to have productivity, you have to cater to the labor part of things, and it makes so much sense because you may invest in all other avenues of the company, but if the labor is disgruntled, then you are going to encounter problems, because even when you have machines, you need people to manage the
run
machines.
around the machines.
Exactly. So it's important. But one would wonder, and you've given this example, you did mention that employers, not only in Uganda but also internationally, mishandle or misunderstand the role of their human labor that they have. Why do you think employers to this day still have the mindset that I can fire and hire, I can replace you in a minute? Many employees do not feel appreciated in places of work. I've worked in different places, and that is usually the #1 issue of you work but you never feel like they see you. So as employees, are we asking for too much, or actually we are asking for the bare minimum?
I can say confidently that there are a number of reasons as to why many employers do not appreciate labor in its right context. Historically, when economic evolution started, we did not have employer-employee relations. We had masters and servants.
True.
Yeah, or masters or merchants and slaves.
Yes.
People were not employed for money or for any terms. If you are one person who was rich and who wanted to produce, everybody would fend for him or herself. Those times, the ancient times, nobody needed to buy food. Food was free from the fields. Even medication, people would use herbs to treat themselves. But as evolutions continued, people now started to produce. And at that time, I'm telling you, it was a matter of a rich man employing a servant, or a rich man buying a slave to work for him. So that mentality of master-servant, that mentality of master-slave has continued up to now.
It has trickled into
Yes.
modern day society.
Employers look at workers as if they are slaves. And they would wish to use workers for no pay so that they can get more profitability. You know, when you look at the practice in employment, there are costs that are constant. Overheads of an organization. Every organization will pay for power, electricity. Every organization will pay taxes. Every organization will pay for these government services like national water and the rest. And every organization should also pay for labor. But all these things are regulated. All these payments are regulated. There are laws that provide. Only that the power differ. There are 3 persons that keep in employment 24/7. There should be government all the time in every workplace. There is an employer and there is a worker. And all these persons, the 3 tripartite partners, are represented in employment all the time. But government has its authority and power. The employer has his authority and power. The worker has his minimum authority and power. So we talk about labor laws. We would be talking about employment laws. But even the makers of the laws, both international and local, know that the less privileged person is a worker who needs to be regulated, or whose terms should be regulated. And that is why we have these labor laws, basically to protect the interest of the less privileged person among the three. When government wants money from an organization, it's, what does the law say? Pay as you earn, how much? You must pay by this date. If national
you don't
water,
even get to touch it.
You don't.
The government makes sure.
By 15th date of the preceding month, you must have filed your returns.
Yes.
For NSSF, for pay as you earn, for all
and
these
there
other
are
taxes.
fines. So government is is cushioned.
They use the law. They use their power. Even the services that government sells to this organization, water, by this time, if you have not paid, they cut off.
That's right.
Electricity, the same.
Yes.
But if it is an employee,
then we shall have to talk. And
it's begging.
Okay.
So the access to that money that we, three of us make, we have less power to access that money than government has to access it, than the employer has to access it. And that is why we have labor laws, also to regulate that even workers should have representatives that speak for them, that represent them in accessing some of the services and or facilities or the rights that are due to them as from their employer.
Okay. Well, I am speaking to the General Secretary of the National Organization of Trade Unions.
Treasurer General.
Treasurer General,
Yes,
sorry,
please.
of the National Organization for Trade Unions, NOTU, and that is Mr. Richard Moses Mauku. And today we are looking at workers' rights and productivity. Yes, if you're just joining the conversation and you'd like to be a part of it by sharing your views or opinions and also some questions to Mr. Mauku, then WhatsApp the number on your screen. It is 0709 602 592. Let's continue with the conversation. Now, Mr. Mauku, let's talk about the minimum wage in Uganda and how NOTU is. Are you working together with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development and other ministries that are concerned to ensure that Ugandans get to a point where we can have minimum wage? My understanding is that the last time this bill was presented, the president did not assent to it because there were a few lacking avenues in the bill. But then there is the Labour representative in Parliament, Rakajara, and he's trying to retable the bill, and in his argument he says that the president was misled back in the day when he did not assent to the minimum wage bill. Now, coming to you as NOTU, you fight for workers' rights. You speak about. You speak passionately about workers' rights. What is your say, and what does NOTU say about the need for a minimum wage bill actually act in Uganda?
Well, on the matter of minimum wage in Uganda is been lacking and wanting for a long time. As trade unions, even when I joined the trade union movement when I was a very young boy in the late 90s, I found that matter being discussed by trade unions. There was a report which was made in, I think, 2002. And that research was done by ILO and NOTU jointly. And it proposed that it is important and apparent that Uganda as a country adopts a minimum wage as a law. It did not come to pass. Most of the years when we have been going for International Labour Days, it is one of the issues that we have always tabled before government, that Uganda workers require to have a minimum wage. We have also on several occasions raised it as an issue in the International Labour Organization at ILOC, and Uganda has always promised they are working on the matter, which has not come to pass. Even like you are saying, when this bill was tabled before Parliament and passed by Parliament and taken to
the President
for assentment, he declined to assent to that law. We as workers, we represent workers on very many issues, on very many aspects, in terms of rights and the welfare of workers in this country. The representation that we do is at different levels. We represent these employees or workers at their workplaces. We represent them at policy level within the country in trying to determine the labor laws that govern ourselves. Those processes require the consultations with the workers, and that is why we even have members of parliament that represent workers at that highest level. We represent workers regionally because we have federations that bring together workers' organizations in East Africa, in Africa, and in the whole world. So we as workers discuss policy issues at all those levels. So likewise in Uganda on the matter of minimum wage, we have always tried to appeal to the president and explain ourselves that minimum wage is very important and necessary. And there has been a notion that minimum wage would chase investors. It is only quacker investors who would fear a minimum wage. And we also need to inform the president that among the things the president has been arguing for is to increase the number of persons, of Ugandans, who join the money economy. I do not see Ugandans joining the money economy if they are being employed by employers who do not pay as you earn for these people, because they earn lower than the threshold.
Yes.
Against which government charges pay as you earn. Their pay for a month is actually lower than 235,000 shillings, above which pay as you earn is charged. There are many employers who have come here in the name of investors, and when they come, they convince the president or deceive the government that they are going to offer 500 jobs. And out of 500 jobs, only about 70 or 50 are permanent or contract jobs. The rest are all casual jobs that have they don't actually even make meaning to the very persons that work. These are people who are being employed by these employers, and they don't contribute to even social security. They don't pay as you earn. So you find that they are just passing time, growing in age. But this type of employment, precarious type of employment that they have been given by these investors is totally useless to the economy.
And yet these are also Ugandans
They
in
are
their
Ugandans.
prime,
in their
where
prime
they
age,
could actually
younger
make
people
good
who would
money.
be working and who would be contributing to the GDP. And these people carry all their profits back to their native countries. And for us, we are happy that we have so many jobs. But these are jobs that are not adding up. They don't add to the economy in terms of growth of GDP because they don't contribute pay as you earn. But somebody is working all these. We have been moving around with the minister responsible for labor in the industrial parks. The situation there is alarming. People work for long hours and they are being paid 5,000 shillings a day. 5,000 shillings, 3,000 shillings a whole day.
A whole day.
And you expect, when you are counting people who are employed, you are counting such a person. And that person has a family to fend for with 3,000 shillings a day. He has transport to pay to go and work and go back home.
There is medical.
He has medical bills to meet.
Yes.
He has to pay for power, rent, with 3,000 shillings. And the government is happily saying, we don't need a minimum wage. I think it is not right. This minimum wage we are talking about is not a lump sum for each and everybody. When we had meetings as social partners, we agreed to a position paper, which we call bipartite position paper, with the Federation of Uganda Employers, segmenting the minimum wage to be provided for sector by sector.
Okay.
Because different sectors have different capacities to pay this minimum wage, depending on their profitability levels. Not all organizations or companies have the same profitability levels.
That's right.
So we went in depth to understand if somebody from the agricultural sector is to be paid a minimum salary, how much could it be? If it is somebody from the hospitality sector, tourism sector, so we segmented the different sectors and provided for minimum figures, sector by sector. We are not calling for a blanket figure that everybody, whether domestic worker, should get this.
Yeah, because there was that concern by a section of Ugandans who would say, okay, I have a maid at home and I have a shamba boy. How much do I pay them? If there is a minimum wage that is a blanket figure and it says minimum wage is 500,000 in Uganda, it means many households may not be in position to pay these workers, yet we do not have childcare services that would allow parents to just put their children in a daycare and then go to work.
These arguments are both realistic and not. When we looked into all these situations, what we agreed is let us segment to provide for minimum wage sector by sector.
Okay.
When you look at East Africa as a bloc, all the other countries provide for minimum wage. What is so special about Uganda not to have one?
So what are those?
Are we the worst off? Or are we the best?
I don't think so. My question here is, Mr. Mauko, what are these countries in East Africa doing right? What is it that they have decided to adopt that we could probably emulate? We could borrow a leaf from them.
You see, when you cross Kenya, Kenya announces a minimum wage each year.
Okay.
Every year.
So they revise it.
The president of the Republic of Kenya announces a minimum wage every
for that year. Interesting.
You get?
Yeah.
In Tanzania, they have a minimum wage that is operation. It is only here where either we have refused to appreciate the facts that we believe continuously for 39 years. We think that we should only value the investor and not value the Ugandan who is working for the other investor. If somebody comes here to come and make money, invest in Uganda to make money, let this person also reasonably pay the person that he is working with or that are working for him or her to make the other profit.
So how do we strike a balance between keeping the investors, because the country does need them, but also ensuring that the Ugandans who are working for these investors are also gaining something that will benefit not only them, but also the economic environment of the country?
We have engaged in a process to again do a survey on some of these companies as National Organization of Trade Unions, so that when we are going to make a presentation before the president, we have empirical figures that speak about the situation of either having a minimum wage or not having a minimum wage. And it is going to be comparative, so that we put to the president the reality about the need to have a minimum wage. There is nothing else we can do apart from, because we can't pronounce a minimum wage as labor unions. The only way we do that is through collective bargaining. For workers who are organized into the unions, actually the issue of minimum wage does not even concern them, because they determine theirs by collective bargaining agreements. But we are speaking about a minimum wage for all workers in this country.
Yes.
I know that a minimum wage only determines the minimum. for the lowest paid person. Even when they announced a minimum wage, you as Monica working with UBC, it may not affect you, but you have a relative who needs it.
Yes.
You
A
have either
CEO will
sister.
not be affected.
Definitely.
But then
we are looking at the other person, the lowest person paid in an organization.
Because even
how
when there
much
is an
does-
increment, those are usually the people that are forgotten.
Definitely. So it is this person, and they form the majority of Ugandans. The one who earn lowest, they form the majority. So they are the people in our focus. And if we have a minimum wage pronounced, within the next 30 days, government will realize a lot of money from pay as you earn. A lot of money. It will be a big boost.
Right now, the government is losing out.
Definitely.
If we have a population of 70%.
Even the purchasing power of this very person is going to increase.
That's right.
And it will have an effect economically on the GDP.
Okay. Well, join the conversation, workers' rights and productivity. That's the conversation that we are having. And it's really interesting. We have, among others, addressed the need for a minimum wage in Uganda. So if you have questions, if you have views, please WhatsApp the number on your screen, 0709 602 592. I am speaking to Mr. Richard Moses Mauku, who is the Treasurer General Treasurer General National Organization of Trade Unions, NOTU. So please be a part of this conversation. Mr. Mauku, you did mention something to do with sector by sector, segment the minimum wage sector by sector. Yes. What would you say to a Ugandan who says, okay, fine, sector by sector, one, then let's go down on that tree and also look at level of education. We have Ugandans who are degree holders earning 250,000 shillings a month. So is that viable or it doesn't count?
You know,
looking at the level of education.
It all starts from a minimum wage. When you establish a minimum wage is basically meant for the unskilled labor. Unskilled labor. But so if it finds that in a given company, unskilled labor has been paid maybe 180,000 shillings, like the practice is.
Yes.
There are actually many Ugandans who are working for even less than 100,000 shillings in 30 days.
In 30 days.
And they're employed.
Cost of living notwithstanding.
Yes. So if this person's salary is improved to probably 235 pay as you earn threshold, it will surpass the person who is skilled. So it will definitely mean that the whole payroll is going to be improved. Because the person who is unskilled has had his or her salary improve to a level beyond the semi-skilled. So it will mean that the one for the semi-skilled will also have to shift upwards. And that is why we target the minimum. We talked about segmentation, sector by sector. You know, people despise domestic work.
Yes.
But we have
it's a lot
the
of
union
work.
which I superintend over.
Yes.
The Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union. Among other people, we organize domestic workers. And we have domestic workers who earn 1.5 million in the embassies.
Country?
Yes.
In this country, Uganda?
In this country.
Wow.
Those that work for embassies, they are also domestic workers. There are domestic workers who are actually drivers. There are domestic workers who are offering security services. Gardeners, professional gardeners earning 800,000 shillings, but a domestic work in one's home. So it's just that we have not comprehended what a domestic worker is.
And you know,
there are these domestic workers you call, I think, house girl. How much are they earning in
the Middle East?
In the Middle East.
Around
even government is running around
between
because
800,000
of domestic
to 1.5
workers that are being deployed the other side and from here. And they are all over the place. We want to regulate this, we want to regulate this. They are not regulating their own here. But we also have domestic workers here, doing the same work. The ones that we are trying to protect the other side are doing
And there are domestic workers locally that are being mistreated. I remember
Definitely, many of them.
I remember cases in during the COVID-19 lockdowns where some families, because of the strain of maybe breadwinners being laid off from work, some of them would just tell the domestic workers, we cannot employ you anymore. Remember, travel was banned, and some of these girls were left for the streets.
Yes.
The employer wakes up and says, you have to go. They've not paid them. They don't have anywhere to go.
We have been attending to various cases of such kinds. We even had another case in Kololo here in 2018, where some Indian used to lock this house girl in the house and locks from outside each day.
Wow.
No
Like
matter,
that is
not minding whether, if there is a fire, that person will just die there.
Yes.
And that was the process. Every day as they leave to go for work, they lock the house from outside.
Wow.
She keeps indoors until after 5 when they come back. So there's been a lot of mistreatment.
But they are not protected,
but
and
they are
we're
not
seeking to
protected.
protect
We have
those
been
that
even
are
trying
leaving
to
the
find
country.
a way of defining them in the Employment Act. Parliament has defeated it. So we have a lot of issues still that we have to harmonize with government. There are so many domestic workers suffering greatly here. But we're only focusing on the migrant domestic workers that are going outside.
Not that their issues are not existent.
And
they
even
have
those,
existent
we
issues.
still have a lot of issues that we have not harmonized.
Okay.
In terms of self-migration, for them to go and work there, keep there, and come back and get reintegrated into their families. There are still a number of issues that we are grappling with to ensure that we make their life better before, during, and after work with the Middle East families that they go to work to.
Okay, now I have some views coming through, and the first one says, hello, good morning. You didn't give us your name. Please, when you text, leave us your name and where you are texting from. He says, why can't the government put strict laws for the labor, I think for employers to pay salaries on time? Because we are Ugandans who work within companies more than 3 months without their salary. At the end, their NSSF payee and taxes deducted from their salary for only 1 month. So how is a mere Ugandan going to develop when he or she is not protected? I had to paraphrase.
Well, to that question, I can provide a response that one of the things that we can advise is when you are faced with such situations, the best thing is for you to report. The other thing for you is to find a union within your sector that you can join and that can try to protect your interests as an employee. Many organizations are doing such things and even worse. But organizations that recognize unions, it is rare that a worker can take 3 months without pay if you're a union member. Very rare, because there are terms and conditions that we agree to. And in the terms that we agree to, we use an agreement which is referred to as collective bargaining agreement. That agreement stipulates processes and procedures of how one gets into employment, processes and procedures, benefits, the do's and the don'ts of how you stay in that employment. And then at the end of it, we also determine how you cease to be an employee with this organization. So the 3 processes, entry, stay, and exit, are provided by this agreement, which is negotiated and reached upon by the organization or the company and the union that represents the employees. Okay. So I would only advise such employees to look out for the unions within their sector so that they can join these unions so that the union can negotiate their terms and conditions of employment. Okay. Where they have not joined the unions, you can report such cases to the nearest labor officer. If we are within Kampala, we have divisional labor officers, and we have KCCA labor officers, and we have the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development that handle for those workers who are not belonging to trade unions.
Okay. Then Makere Admon, please do not call. Please do not call. Just text. Makere Admon in Kasese municipality says, in private organizations, employees' rights remain suppressed by the bosses who make every effort to exploit workers with meager and delayed wages but demand maximum performance. How are trade unions seeking to address this employee exploitation? I think it's the same answer that you gave. And then the next one, Christopher says, I need help. There is a company I worked for, but they refuse to pay me my money, 9 million. What should I do?
I have given all these questions, get into the same answer. Look for a union within your sector that can represent you. We can use Section 66 of the Employment Act to represent anybody, even when you are not a union member. The unions can still represent you using that section of the Employment Act. But the other thing is, it is also important and necessary that when you join employment, it is good to understand what happens to an employee. Which rights do you have, and where do you find these rights? But sometimes when somebody is in employment, you think everything is all well.
Until it isn't. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mauku. This has been quite an enlightening conversation. I see your views coming through. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but thank you so much for watching Good Morning Uganda, and Good Morning does continue. Mr. Mauku, thank you so much for being here. You are most welcome. I want to finally thank the employees or the workers of this country, and also the employers, and advise the employers to embrace trade unions. Okay. They are not bad organizations. They only try to improve productivity by getting these workers to feel that they are part and parcel of the organizations for which they work for, so you can become more competitive in business. You can also become compliant with the relevant labor laws, and that is the message that I give to the employers and to government. Please try to accept that minimum wage is something that is essential for the country. All right, minimum wage is something that is essential for the country. As an employee, I can't agree more. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Good Morning Uganda continues with Ruben Pima giving us sports updates.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Njagala okwebaza olw'enteekateeka eno gavumenti gye yatondawo ey'okulaba nga omuntu wa wansi, omuntu omuwejjero wa ghetto afiibwako. Nti nga ghettos eriyo embeera yaliwo nga si nnungi. Okugezesa ddala mu nteekateeka eno nga tennajja, abaana bangi baakwatibwanga, naye bukya enteekateeka eno ejja, bintu bingi bituukiddwako, naddala mu nteekateeka z'ebyokwerinda, security, wamu n'enkulaakulana. Nga tuyita mu nkola gye bayita eya ghetto structure. Ghetto structure kwe kulonda obukulembeze okuviira ddala ku ghetto esootebwako ku kyalo, ne tubeera ne ba coordinators ku muluka, paka eno gye tuli. Omwaka guno yatuwa ssente obukadde 100 wano emikono twabufuna. Era mu nfuna ya ssente zino twagala okwebaza Oweekitiibwa Pulezidenti. Ssente zino ziyambye nnyo abantu ba ghetto